Hi, good afternoon. Welcome. This is Latha, Srinivasan, senior journalist, and I'm with Sonam Srivastava, who is the CEO of Right Research. One of the important things I think I wanted to talk about during this pandemic times is about not just about health and safety, which all of us are concerned about, but also about wealth management, about your money. A lot of people have faced job losses, salary cuts. So at this point in time, it's so important that you invest smartly and wisely. Welcome, Sonam. I'm happy to have this conversation with you. So I hope you're keeping safe during these pandemic times.
Yeah, thank you, Latha. Yeah, we are safe, but yeah, obviously the situation, like you said, is very concerning for our health and safety side. But yes, we need to focus on the wealth management side also, because that is what will keep us, safe with our savings, right?
Right, absolutely. Now, when Corona hit last year, it was a global pandemic, and of course, the stock market crashed in India, and people were very concerned about investing in stocks after that. What do you think about the stock market now? Has it attained stability? Is it a good time to look at investing in stocks?
So the last time when the pandemic hit, it was very different from this time, right? I will not go into the technical details, but the volatility shot up a lot, right? And nobody had ever seen the pandemic like this, so that led to a big crash in the stock market. Whereas now, 1 year with living with the pandemic, we sort of know, what the situation is and how to, best tackle it. So this time we haven't seen in the market a very big reaction. We have seen some reaction due to the crash, but we haven't seen such a huge reaction. We have seen, a short-term volatility, but the markets have sort of stabilized. So I do not expect the markets to crash just because of second wave, but there are other concerns in the market that we have to look at.
Okay. Yesterday was Akshaya Tritiya, and of course, gold has always been, a huge investment option for Indians. And given the prices right now, do you think gold is a good, saving instrument? Should Indians go for it once again at this point?
Yeah, so gold is something that Indians typically go for a lot, especially our mothers. But yeah, so I mean, right now we've seen a little uptick in gold prices when there was uncertainty in the market. Whenever there is uncertainty, people go to the safe haven, right? So gold is a safe haven investment. So we have seen uptick in gold prices. We actually in the right research portfolios that are there on smallcase, right? We have increased some allocation to gold. We have increased allocation to gold in our portfolios, but we are not totally going into with a large allocation to gold, because we think that this volatility that has come is a short-term thing, because India otherwise is in a growth phase right now, right? Given all the liquidity coming in, all the policy actions and government actions, we are in a cyclical growth and recovery phase. The GDP projections are very high, and looking at that, I think the economy should also grow. So whereas this volatility could be short term, and we could be having some allocation to gold in the short term, but in the long term, we think we should stick with the growth. Yeah.
Right. Now, pharma and IT, of course, right now is huge, given, healthcare has become the need of the hour. People are looking at investments there, as well as, there's tremendous growth in pharmaceutical businesses, which we've seen over the last 1 year. Should people invest in pharma and IT? Is that a great option for them also?
See, pharma and IT are something that we call defensive stocks, right? So these stocks, they grow in any scenario, right? Be it a downturn or be it an upturn, and especially during the downturn when everything else is going down, they look very attractive because they are still going up when everything has gone down. So during the crash that happened last year, pharma and IT did the best that year, because pharma was really strong during the pandemic and IT was also very strong. Even right now, when the short-term crash due to coronavirus happened, with the second wave, we saw that pharma and IT had a pickup, whereas the other cyclical stocks like auto, banks, and metals and construction, they went down a little bit. Uh, but still, like in our portfolio, we are still very highly allocated to cyclical stocks like, auto, banks, construction, which are more in line with the growth story. We have increased our pharma and IT allocation a little bit. And, as we expect some volatility to be there in the future because of, US government might, US is recovering, right? US,
Right, right.
and yeah, and India is not. So while they might stabilize, we might have a little bit of volatility.
Hmm.
So in those scenarios, I think pharma and IT might become attractive, but we'll have to wait and see.
Okay. Now, there's a lot
Yeah.
of talk about an emergency fund. What exactly is an emergency fund, and is it important?
Obviously, in the current scenario, everybody, if you don't have insurance, then you're going to your emergency funds. And I'm sure
Hmm.
with the hospital bills piling up and all these health emergencies coming, it is very necessary to have an emergency fund. And not just, you should not be saving just for emergency, but you should be saving a high percentage of your income just to build wealth for yourself, to have a future security for yourself. Um, and the portfolios that we offer from Right Research, they are, when you want an emergency fund, what are the characteristics of it? You want it to be stable, you want it to be growing
Hmm.
better than the inflation, and you want it to be ready to be liquidated, right? It shouldn't be like a real estate investment or something like that you have to wait for like a few months for it to liquidate. You want to be have access to that fund very quickly. So using small cases, any investment that you do, they are in your in your brokerage account. You can sell it today and you can receive the money tomorrow, and that's a very liquid instrument that you have. And
Hmm.
our small cases, especially the balanced multi-factor portfolios, they try to invest into multiple factors, the best performing factor in any situation, right? So there are volatile times and there are trending times and good times in the market, right? And in the good times, there's certain things that work better, like trending stocks and all that. And the volatile times, certain other things, like you said, gold and defensive stocks, they will do better. So our philosophy is to find the perfect investment for any type of market. And I
Hmm.
think that is a very good thing for people to hold for a long term, for their emergency fund or for their long term saving accounts,
Right.
saving. Yeah.
Okay. So, should we look at long-term investments even at this point rather than just short-term gains?
Yes. So, I mean, there are some very, wonderful companies in India that are very good long term holds, right?
Hmm.
And there are certain companies in India that have been compounding, that have been growing their earnings very consistently over the years.
Right.
And you can just buy them and look at them after 10 years, and they are excellent uh, stocks to hold in your portfolio.
Hmm.
But obviously, you uh, our philosophy is that we want to take advantage of any market condition, right? So there are times when maybe the your long term holds will give you X% return, but if you picked up the correct scheme, it will give you 1.5x or 2x return, right? So you should always have a mix of long-term holds and short-term uh, holds. So your core portfolio should be something that you are holding for a long term, and to to gain from certain thematic things. Like last year, if you invest into momentum or trending portfolios, you would have made a lot of profit. So you should be aware of these themes that are coming in and invest into the short term as well.
Right. So, how
Yeah.
important is it, to diversify one's portfolio, even during these times?
See, diversification is the only free lunch in investing, right?
Hmm.
Diversification is something that will give you a benefit for which you don't have to do much. Um, and when we say diversification, what is the benefit of diversification? It is giving you, exposure to multiple good ideas instead of putting all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
Um, and when you invest into a portfolio of stocks, like on small case, right, you have a basket of 20 stocks. These stocks will be on from, more than 5, 6 industries. We're not
Hmm.
putting, everything into one industry or one sector. We're trying to diversify it, find the best performing sectors, themes, and industries. And, maybe one thing doesn't work, but you will have exposure to four other things that might work, right? Or
Hmm.
maybe one thing goes down drastically, but the other things might support you, and your overall portfolio will not go down, right?
Right. So, speaking about the second wave of COVID, it hasn't has as much as an impact as the first wave did, right?
Mhm.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah, like I said, like people now are aware, right? We like the world did not know. If you look at, the volatility index, something that talks about the index that shows the volatility in the market,
Right.
it the volatility went up 5 times during the first wave, whereas this time it hasn't had that much of an impact. Every country is seeing a second wave and a third wave, so everybody's, we are aware of it. I mean, obviously the pain is something that
Hmm.
we are living with, but the industry is aware that these things could happen and what needs to be done. As you have seen that lockdowns have not been enforced, as strictly right now, or we have taken our time to enforce those lockdowns. And the biggest impact, the economy that suffers is because of lockdowns, right?
Right. Right.
Lockdowns, mobility goes down and industry activity goes down. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what has been the short-term impact on the market, and how is it different from actual expectations?
The short-term impact, we saw a short-term impact for around 2-3 weeks in the starting of March and April, where
Initially.
everybody in the market was fearful of the second wave. But
Right.
then the market quickly picked up its pace. It's not growing like anything right now because there are other fears like the US Federal Bank raising the rates soon. But still, I think there is a smaller short-term impact for this wave compared to the last wave.
Okay, so what are the broader factors telling you about the market? In fact, I think there are a lot of positives, isn't there?
Yes. So, yeah, there are a lot of positives in India. We are in a cyclical growth phase that sort of started after the budget this year, when the government said that they will be funding growth instead of taming the economy. The central banks have a dovish policy, and they are trying to simulate growth in the economy.
Hmm.
Similarly, the foreign funds are coming. India being an emerging market is very attractive, and we are going through a cyclical growth phase. Uh, the worry because of COVID-19 second wave has been short term, but there are some worries apart from that also. Whereas inflation is sort of taken care of because we don't see inflation rising right now. There is
Hmm.
worry that the US government might start tapering the stimulus, which is, I think, one big concern that we have. But apart from that, I think the whole growth story and the attractiveness of Indian equities because of it being an emerging market is a big positive for India.
Okay, great. But are valuations still a concern? And how will the recovery in the global markets and taper tantrum impact India as such?
Yeah, so see, obviously the valuations have been quite high, right? And everybody has sort of said that nobody has seen such high valuations. But if you look at the earning growth recently, the earning growth for many big companies in India has been really good. And if you compare the India valuation with the global valuation, right? If you look at the global companies like Tesla and
Hmm.
the Facebook and Google of the world, compared to that, we are still very undervalued, and we are a value pick India compared to those stocks. So I think that concern is, if you look at it from a relative basis, that is not a concern.
Okay, okay. So, what factors are you betting on in the market?
Yeah, so right now, so last year we were very highly invested into momentum stock, picking up the trending stock, picking up the high, stocks with a high momentum, and we're going with that. Even right now, our momentum portfolios and our small cap portfolios, which are investing into small caps, are going quite strong. But we are looking at the switch to value happening if the value stocks might pick up. If you talk about sectors, we are highly allocated to our, like I said, cyclical sectors, be it autos, metals, construction, banking, and we have obviously IT is a staple. IT is a very staple sector in India, so we have that allocation, and
Hmm.
we are looking at other pharma and FMCG also if those allocation could be increased in the future.
Okay. So, how does the momentum factor behave in risk scenarios?
So momentum factor, it's a high risk factor, right? First of all, you are trying to find the stocks that have the highest pace of growth, and you're investing into that. So obviously, if there is a short term, a crash that happened that nobody saw, then those stocks that have been rising very quickly, they go down.
Hmm.
And but our momentum factor will go down as much as the market. If the market goes through a 10% drawdown or 15% drawdown, that is
Hmm.
what you'll expect the momentum factor to give you, but it comes back much quickly, right? So if a short-term crash happens, the recovery happens much quickly, and we think that the momentum factors rises much quickly than the market. And that is what we have seen. We have done this analysis. So we are purely quantitative, and we have done this back testing and analysis over 20 years or so. And that's what
Right.
we have seen in this history, that momentum will quickly pick up. And we also have risk management at our side. If we see that, within a week market went down by 10% or so, we will deallocate some of the money into cash, right? And
Okay.
yeah.
So will the small cap rally continue, and how do you manage the risk around small caps?
Yeah, so small cap, like I said, momentum and small caps are two of our very interesting small case portfolios that we have been offering from
Hmm.
Right Research. These are the two themes that we picked up last year because these have become really strong in the market since last year. And in India, if you look at India as a whole, momentum and small caps are the best performing themes in Indian market. Small caps or mid caps, they grow highest when the market is growing, right? If the market is in a rally, then your small
Right.
cap and mid cap stocks will be growing higher than the market, right? And because we think that any impact that is going to come maybe from the second wave or
Hmm.
from the federal rate stimulus worries will be short term. It will not be a long term impact. So because of that, we are still very much betting on the growth theme, and we think that momentum and small case, these two portfolios that are present on our small case micro site, which is the right research or smallcase.com, both of
Hmm.
these portfolios will be very attractive in the future, and I think people should be looking at that. Yeah.
Okay. So you're, of course, CEO of Right Research. So tell us more about Right Research, and why should people invest with you? What is special about you guys?
Yeah, so see, we are a SEBI registered investment advisor. We come with, like, I personally, like, I'm the founder of this firm. I come with 10 odd years of experience in the field. I've worked in companies like HSBC, Edelweiss, and Qplum, and we have a lot of experience working with quantitative investing in India, which is something that is not very actively used in India, but it's a very attractive thing in the long term. Being a quantitative manager, you can look at multiple themes and you can pick up the best one for a given scenario. We use artificial intelligence and machine learning that adds a lot of edge to this investing philosophy, and our backtest and our philosophy we think is very transparent and something that people gain a lot of. We've been live, we've been working with this firm for 2 years, and people have had very good experience. We've given more than 80-90% return to certain people, and our numbers and subscribers and these numbers keep on growing. And uh, we think that because of our research back and risk managed philosophy, we
Hmm.
will continue to get the best out of any scenario that comes.
Okay, so Sonam, as CEO of Right Research, tell me, especially for my followers, people who've been watching this video and who are eager to invest, what would be your advice?
Right. Yeah. So see, our we have created this portfolio and we give it out to the retail audiences. These are very, like I said, very highly research backed portfolios that people can invest on the small case website, right? So you go to smallcase.com or you go to writeresearch.smallcase.com, you'll easily find our portfolios. These are very well researched portfolios that anybody can invest with a few clicks. So you don't need to do your own research, or you don't need to follow the market, and you're still getting the best quality research for your investment. Right, we have investments in two themes. One is our core portfolios, which are multi-factor portfolios. We give these portfolios in the three categories. One is your medium risk, one is high risk, and one is your low risk. And these core portfolio is something that you hold on for a long time, right? You just buy those portfolios and you stick with that for a long time. And apart from that, we have these thematic portfolios, which is the momentum and small cap that have been doing phenomenally during the last year and so. So both these categories of portfolios, whichever suits the person, are available on the small case website. They can just search for right research over there on the creators tab, and they'll find those portfolios. And uh, we have a large number of people who are investing to this for having a great time. And I really hope that some of your followers uh, can explore this portfolio and have a good time investing into that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sonam, for speaking to me. I'm sure my followers and those, who've watched this session are definitely going to look at right research and look at investing. Once again, I want everybody to stay safe and healthy. You too, stay safe and healthy. And I think, like you said, let people invest smartly and wisely. And thanks once again for all the information and tips that you've given us, Sonam. It was wonderful chatting with you.
So thank you, Latha. It was great talking to you as well.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.